What to say? It's about that time. So,
and yeah, there we go. We are live. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Geek Boutique podcast. Hey, listen, we've got a special guest this week. Livin the Dream Cosplay has joined us. How are you?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
Very good, very good. Thanks for joining us today. We're gonna call you Jane today because on your Instagram you call yourself Jane Hustle. Drag queen name? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's my drag persona is Jane Hustle.
Perfect. So that's what we're going to call you today. Mr.
Sure.
Messiah Complex Cosplay. Coming back as always. How you doing, my man?
oh, I'm so good. So good. So it's Movember. I just cut it in today. So it's ratty, it's shitty, and I love it. But it's
coming in about as thick as mine is.
Yeah, right. I should start bleeding. No. It's I'm hoping by the end of the month it's just going to be like some big gnarly thing like I grew for Ron Burgundy. So we'll see how that goes. But yes, it's been good so far. Got an event coming up soon that I'll talk about at the end of the podcast because for some fucking reason I'm always like, hey, I'm all done cosplaying this year, and then somebody is like, hey, do you want to come out and do this thing for charity? I'm like, yes, I do, of course. But
did you cosplay right to Christmas last year?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Mr. Goose over there. Yeah, that's right. Talk to me, Goose. Yeah, I sure did. So I keep saying, yeah, I'm done. Like everything's packed away, bro. Like I don't have anything out.
Never put it away.
Now I have to go and take
it away.
Folks, I'm old, dude. Let me rest.
Unbelievable.
Nope.
Unbelievable.
I know.
Hey, public service announcement. Let's do this before we get started. Guys, if you are watching us on Instagram, first of all, thanks for joining us. Make sure you go check us out on YouTube. The nice thing about YouTube, we don't have all these technical difficulties. We're in HD. The sound is much better. We can throw graphics on screen, so on and so forth. Go check us out on YouTube. The link is in my story, actually. More bang for your buck, 100%. And you know what? It helps us out. Because when you go and watch us on YouTube and you like the videos on YouTube, it helps propagate the video out to more people to come and join us. Instagram doesn't do any of that stuff. So Instagram, you're live and that's it. So go check us out on YouTube. Give us a watch. We've got a couple watching already right now. So thanks, guys, for joining us. And make sure you leave a like. Jane, first timer on the Geek Boutique podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I'm really happy to be here so far.
So far, well, we'll try to not offend and get canceled, but that's it's a very slight edge with this show. I can tell you that right now. It's a thin line. So
any more charity events and you're going to lose your jerk status mess. Nah, that's impossible. Don't worry. People that don't know me, that's fine. But anybody that spends an hour with me is automatically going to know.
Pop Who said
cherry.
That?
Yep.
Is that Michael?
No, Haven Creatives. Good friend of mine out of, I think she said a chat. No, I don't. You know what? I'm not even going to embarrass myself. Might be out of Toronto. Might be out of Chatham. I don't know where. So it's not where I am, but it's close.
Can't you just say Ontario?
Ontario.
Yeah. Ontario. There you go. That works. That works. Guys, we are going to talk a little bit about House of Dragons. Yeah, I mean, it's funny you say that because when we think of you guys out in Alberta, and this is the joke we were making with Cutie earlier, everything's Calgary for us, right? So every once in a while, I'll be like, you're from Edmonton? No, I'm from Calgary. God damn it, I should have known.
Yeah. See?
No one from Calgary will let you say they're from Edmonton.
Well,
but
fair
I think
enough.
people from Edmonton might be okay with being mistaken for being from Calgary.
Cutie certainly is, and I'll tell you that right now. Ooh, goodness gracious me. She gets sore about it. Yeah. What the hell is with that? Yeah, well, I mean, in my defense, my sister lives in Calgary, so it's not. That's why Calgary immediately is what leaps to mind. Also, in my defense, I'm a jerk and I like poking fun at you, Cutie. So that's not. It's not my fault.
She's a good sport. She knows we love her.
Also, we've got some people watching. Actually, we've got Kid watching us on Facebook tonight. Absolutely crushing charity events, never enough. Thanks, Kid. I'm sure Jeff is not going to stop. That's for sure. Thanks for watching, man. Kid's also from the East End or West End.
Did you see that video that Victoria?
That was amazing.
Yeah,
that was amazing.
Yeah. Super good.
So, anyways, can't wait to see Kid again. We've got Terry joining us.
Hey, there he is.
Rob's also now on
Calgary for the win. Wow, someone wants to get beat up by
So Rob grew up in Calgary.
Did he?
He's from here, but he spent many years in Calgary before then moving back here.
No, that's right.
So he knows Calgary very well. It's a little bit dear to his heart, even if he talks shit about it all the time. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Jane. So obviously, so you're a cosplayer. For everybody that doesn't know, actually, why don't you tell a little bit about who you are, what you do?
I am a locally tolerated drag queen and cosplayer. I I started cosplaying in 2018, and I think, like most people, Halloween was kind of a gateway into the wonderful, wacky world of cosplay, and it's all been downhill from there. I peaked in 2018. Shit. No.
Yeah, it's funny how that works. Eh? Me and Rob have kind of the same type of story where Halloween was our thing, and it became such a big production at one point that it's like we're not doing Halloween anymore. We're full out cosplayers. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like when we did our Predators, we originally were doing them for Halloween. You know, so yeah, I totally get where that's all coming from.
I think it was through my love of Halloween that I found out about cosplay, and then found out we had an expo, and there was this incredible community of people who dressed up all year round and for no good reason at all, you know, day that ended in Y, and we were going to get together and do a meetup and dress up. And I was like, oh, I'm fully in on this idea. I love it. And yeah, it's taken over. It's taken over my life.
Yeah, see, for me, it was the opposite. It wasn't for Halloween. I've never been big into Halloween. I'm still not actually big into Halloween, which I know how stupid that sounds, being a cosplayer or whatever. But it was going to the shows. Like we had a couple of shows here in London that came up, London Comic Con and Forest City Comic Con. And the first couple of those I went to, I just went in my civvies. And then I saw other people that were dressed up, and some of the costumes were so cool. I'm like, I wonder if I could maybe. And then, yeah, the first time I went to a con, I remember in my costume, I felt like I was more a part of what was going on as opposed to just an observer, right? Like I felt like I was part of the event kind of thing. So, yeah.
I remember feeling like a movie star on the red carpet the first time I did a parade in cosplay. We have the Parade of Wonders here for Calgary Expo. And I got stopped for photos. Like total strangers were stopping me for photos after the parade. And I was
the hook,
like,
isn't it? That's the hook, right?
Sure? Like, okay. So yeah, it was highly addictive and way too much fun. So
and it's rough too, especially if one of your first things out is a hit. You know what I mean? Because like when I first did Negan was like the most popular bad guy on TV on the most popular show on TV, and I had
everybody loves a bad boy.
I had a passing resemblance. So when I put it together for the first time, I couldn't walk down the street. Like people were just like, because that character was so galvanizing. Like I was either getting love or serious hate. And then you guys come out in your Predators, and you guys can't move like at all. You guys just get mobbed. Like when you get to a big event for the first time and you get something that's just clicks with people, of course it's who doesn't love that kind of endorphin rush, right? Like
photo vortex that you get stuck in and you don't actually see any of the con.
yeah, but to know that you're like affecting people on an emotional level like that you're able to give them that fan experience that they can't get in any. They're never going to meet Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and they're never going to meet Negan, they're never going to meet the Predator, they're never going to meet anybody that we're cosplaying, but they're going to meet you, and they're going to celebrate that fandom through you. So
it's that shared love of the fandom, I think,
that of course
really makes our community like nothing else. It's really a team sport.
Yep.
You know, as individual as cosplay is, it's the community, I think, honestly, that really drew me to it. Was, you know, I've met one of my best friends. I met at a parade. Like we were both solo at a parade, and her and I ended up walking together, and we've been attached to the hip ever since.
Dude, this guy and I met at Oshawa Comic Con. Yeah, a small.
And
con,
you were as Negan.
Yeah, I was. Yeah,
you were Negan, and I was Revan. A small, tiny little hole in the wall of a con is where I met this doofus over here.
It's a doofus over here.
I mean, it's weird the community that you build, the family that you build through something like cosplay.
Stupid, right?
It's ridiculous. It makes no sense, but it's so. So, okay, I'm going to go back to London Comic Con. Jamie came with us at London Comic Con. Jamie is producer Jen's sister. She helped us out at London Comic Con. She handled basically the booth, the selling of all the stuff. And it was her first experience at a fairly big con, and she was like, "Oh my god, like it's like these are my people." Like all of a sudden, she found herself in a world where she's never really been before, and realized, "Oh wow, like these are the people that act and feel and talk like me, right?" So there's something to be said about that. Just to go back to also what you were saying, Jane, earlier, it's weird what people will sometimes connect with when it comes to cosplay. Like you'll make a cosplay that you'll think is just a throwaway cosplay, and people will lose their fucking minds. And then you'll make another cosplay which you spend 8 months building, and people will be like, "Yeah, it's a cool, you know."
So you're like, "Look, you! Do you know how much money and time I have in this?"
Yeah, but it doesn't always work like that.
My
right?
most viral reel, I'm not even in it. It's a pair of Hercules sandals and my friend's cosplays who did Pain and Panic from Hercules. And I was just the voice behind the camera, and we shot it at Calgary Expo, and it was all on the fly, but they knew the lines and I knew the lines. I was dressed up as Hades, and just quickly like shot this throwaway reel, and it blew up. It was crazy. So you never know what everyone's gonna love, and I think that's our first tip of the night as far as cosplay goes, is don't follow the trends. Don't worry about what's popular or what you think people might like. Do something that you're excited about wearing, that you're excited about making, that you're excited about having at a con. And people will pick up on that. People will see your passion and know that you love this character, and you'll find those people who appreciate it.
That's the drug for sure. The connections and community, love it. Yeah, Keith, good friend of mine here in town. So
Keith another guy that
we worked at the same place like years and years and years ago. Never crossed paths. Never. We have like a mutual friend that we both realized we worked at the same place, and now all of a sudden we're dressing up as Batman and Superman and doing charity events. Like it's so dumb. The two idiots I'm getting drunk with this weekend. That's all. Those are both cosplay friends.
Here's another one.
Cosplay. Oh, Jordan. What the hell is he doing on already?
Jordan,
it's only like
I don't know.
13.
He must be drunk or something, because
Jordan usually joins us super late in the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So talk about what you would consider to be sort of like, because I always have two different questions, because I have a cosplay that I consider my most impactful, but then I have a cosplay that's like my most favorite. Are those the same for you, or are those two different things for you? Like, what would you say is your favorite, and what would you say has the biggest impact when you're wearing it to an event? And they could be the same, by the way. They don't have to be a freak like me, and those are two different things. But
I think they are two different things, though.
That's okay.
They are for me.
I think Flanders, my stupid, sexy Flanders, was a big hit, and it was literally just something I was like, oh, I need to do that. That's hilarious, because stupid and sexy, and especially like in my drag, especially, those things are the things that meet for me. If I'm gonna do sexy, it's gonna be preceded by stupid.
Right.
So stupid, sexy Flanders is a lot of fun to wear. The people who really get it. And I just have random people yelling at me like, stupid, sexy Flanders.
Yeah, of course.
And so it's a lot of fun to wear out to an event.
Yeah.
Jessica Rabbit's another one that just kind of nostalgia for me. I love embodying that character, because I'm not a super sex pot kind of person outside of cosplay. And so that's a fun one for me to embody. But I think Merida was probably my most impactful. That's the one I've done the most charity work in, and done birthday parties with, and little girls with red hair and little boys with red hair. I've had some really cool conversations with parents that just say like, isn't that cool? She's got hair just like you. And, that just tugs at my heartstrings. And so I think that's probably the most impactful one. And that was one of my first ones that I ever made. So
that's nice, right?
Yeah.
So what is that? Which one's your favorite to wear, physically to wear? Out of those, or
Flanders.
Even all it is Flanders, eh?
Flats,
it seems like
wigs,
it would be
spandex.
Yeah. All right.
It is the comfiest costume.
Is it? I just figured with all the accoutrement and the helmet and everything else that would be like a big pain in your ass. But
it's a little warm, but like it's comfortable. It's when I'm in Jessica Rabbit, that's probably the most uncomfortable. I'm in a
Really?
corset and a push-up bra, and I've got a wig on and so much makeup and like 4-inch heels, and that's all smoke and mirrors. My body looks nothing like that outside of all of that.
It's all smoke and mirrors, baby. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all we all. Are you kidding me? We're in our 40s. You don't think it's all smoke and mirrors on this side? Come on.
I've never
they make
put on a
shapewear for
muscle
men
suit.
too. All right, let me make sure you understand. They make shapewear for dudes. Yeah, 100%.
I'm a drag queen. I 100% understand.
Yeah.
Jeff, I know you've answered this question before, and I think yours is a little bit fluid, isn't it? Like your favorite cosplay changes over time.
My favorite to wear, yes. My favorite like cosplay that I have and that I've done has been it's always the comedian. Like there's no there's not even a second place. It's I got known for doing Negan, obviously, because it was so big and popular at the time, but Negan was the comedian is just there's a special place in my heart, even though the character is a complete piece of shit. It's and of course it's the same actor too. Like I'm not stupid. I stay in my lane, right? So but yeah, no, the comedian for sure. As far as like favorite, like impactful right now, it's probably Batman. It's Batman, right? It's hard to get around that. Kids, adults, everybody knows what it is. Everybody knows what you're doing, so they freak out. There's the dork side. Hello, Victoria.
Hello.
What about you, JS? I assume I think we're okay. I think we know what's the most impactful.
Yeah, for sure, by far the Predators.
Yeah, crazy town. Although I got to admit, man, your Doc Ock really lit people up at Fan Expo.
That was
on Friday.
freaking cool.
Thank you. Really and as much as it was fun to build,
it was enormous. You could see it was across the top floor.
It's unwearable.
It sucks to wear. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I can't wear it more than I think I wore it for an hour. It was the longest I wore it at the show. I just couldn't. It's too heavy. Yeah, it's too much. I need like a proper rig, right?
There's another tip for up and comer beginner cosplayers, or maybe more experienced cosplayers who are looking to make larger than life sort of builds. Is really, before you get all flashy, pay attention to your rigging.
100%.
Especially if you're going to be competing, because you will be wearing that thing for like 2+ hours at least. Mm-hmm. At least. And so make sure you can move in it, make sure you aren't going to overheat. Like, it's just something to think about in that building stage, right? When you're building those larger than life cosplays.
And I'm not trying to speak, by the way.
If you're only wearing it for an hour, great.
Victoria makes a good point too. The way JS looks exactly like Doc Ock. You don't have to stay in your lane. Do literally anything you want. Any person, any type of person you want.
Flanders, Jessica Rabbit. You can
you can do whatever you want. But for sure, 100, if not 1,000 people told me how much I looked like Alfred Molina that weekend.
Oh, dude.
Just because of the way, once I've shaved my beard, once I do my hair like he does.
Yeah, and the glasses.
And the glasses. Bro. The glasses are the glasses, eh?
Yeah, it was crazy.
So the glasses are the glasses that he wears in the first movie.
Right.
Except that they're black instead of silver.
Right.
But that helps a lot. It makes me look like him, right?
Crazy town.
Yeah, so people were freaking out.
That Doc Ock was really incredible. That's what I'm saying. I understand the Predators, don't get me wrong, but that Doc Ock, man, that really took people by storm for sure.
As far as my favorite cosplay, though, I think it still has to be my Revan.
It's got to be Revan. I kind of figured it would be, yeah.
I mean, even though Revan is not a cosplay that I wear anymore, it was my first big build.
Holds a special place in your heart.
Yeah, it's my first big build. He's on a mannequin in my prop shop. He isn't going anywhere. I'm probably never going to wear him again. I may redo him in the future. But right now, it's probably my favorite cosplay that I've made. Not favorite cosplay to wear, because, I mean, it's hard to beat going out in the Predator. I mean...
It's a showstopper.
People lose their minds.
Yeah.
Lose their freaking minds.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's great.
That's the best thing about, learning a little bit of makeup skills, or using prosthetics, or using things like muscle suits or corsets, or like all these things, is you don't have to start out looking anything like this character.
No.
You don't have to be the same gender. You don't have to be the same race or skin color, or it can be an alien like a Predator. Cosplay has no rules. You don't need to start out looking anything like the character you want to cosplay. All you need is a love of the character.
No kidding. Speaking of which, do you have anything that you're currently working on that you can let the folks at home? I know we're not in the season, but this is usually the time when people kind of start their builds or start planning out stuff. So have you got something in the works that you could share as like a little sneak peek or?
I have a few things in the works. I don't know if I want to.
A few things.
Let the cat out of the bag. Give us a hint. Give us a
Yeah.
taste. Give us a little morsel. Something. Nothing. Don't play coy. Come on. One little tiny thing. It's a secret. We won't tell anybody. I promise.
Let's see. I just got done. I was saying to the guys before we started, I just got done, working a pretty full summer.
Right.
And so I've kind of come off the summer and have been focusing a bit more on my drag. So Jane Hustle's been kind of front and center for about a month here. And I'm looking at starting to build up a couple cosplays. I'm working on Lara Croft, the anniversary edition.
Perfect.
I'll let that one out.
There. Perfect. See? Easy.
So that's my OG. That's my girl. She's
We'll take it.
One of the first characters I ever, played on a video game. I think she's badass, and that's one that I have been excited about. That's an old Halloween costume that I did far before I cosplayed or knew anything about cosplay or costume making or sewing. So I'd like to do her justice and redo that one this year.
I think that's almost like a gateway for a lot of female cosplayers, is that Lara Croft look initially, because it is relatively easy to put shorts, black tank, some cool ass sunglasses, and some holsters. I find a lot of beginner girl cosplayers a lot of the times, or cosplayers.
It's something you can closet cosplay.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Right.
It feels like it's a gateway for sure. Mm-hmm. Yep. And it's cool. Now we met you, of course, in Toronto for Fan Expo. Yes. And you were there as a guest, one of the guest spots in the cosplay area near us where we had our big community booth. Is that your intention again to come back if you're invited or what have you, come back to Toronto? Because I know you're out west, you're out in Calgary. We already talked about that. Is that again something that you want to re-experience, or now that you've done it, you're cool, you'll stick to the Western events? What's your plan for the upcoming con season, I guess?
I would love to guest at some more cons. There's nothing more I love in the world at a convention than being able to talk to people and, put on panels and share the knowledge I've accrued over the years from other cosplayers who have come before me with the next generation and group of cosplayers. So that's something I'm really passionate about, that I really enjoy doing. So of course I'm open to call me, anyone who wants to have me guest at their convention. I would love to come back out east. You guys are amazing. The fans there were just incredible. Such a rad community of people out there. I'm actually going back out to Toronto in, a week and a little bit. Yeah, I think it's less than 2 weeks now. I'm headed back out there.
9 days.
For the big photo shoot with Cosplay Alliance.
Yeah. 10 days. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So
that is going to be the weekend of the 20th, is it not?
Yes.
Actually, it is on the 20th, I believe. On the 19th?
It's on the 19th.
On the 19th. Right? Saturday the 19th. Correct.
Yeah. We're going to be down in the Distillery District in Toronto doing a cosplay meetup that is going to be Movember themed. So Movember, make it cosplay. So all cosplays are welcome. We just ask that you bring a mustache.
I wish I could go. I'd bring Ron Burgundy with me, but unfortunately I've got that weekend is packed with stuff, so I cannot make it, but I will be there in spirit for sure. Me and my mustache.
It's going to be a ton of fun. We're going to have some really hilarious photos.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that should be good. We're going to try to get there. We're going to try to at least.
Yeah, I would love to.
Either me or Rob will try. If not, both of us will try to make it down there. Whether we dress up or whether we come equipped to film and take pictures, or I don't know. We'll figure that out.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out. We were talking before the show a little bit about cosplay judging. Mm-hmm. You've been a cosplay judge once. You're now director. Hang on. Cosplay competition director for GameCon Canada.
Yes.
So why don't you actually first of all tell us what that means? What does a cosplay competition director do for GameCon Canada?
It's really just a fancy way of saying I'm the cosplay advisor. I'm the cosplay organizer. So I'm going to be, or I am organizing the cosplay competition with GameCon Canada. It's going to happen here in June 2023 here in Calgary at the BMO Center. And so we have a massive prize pool. I'm so excited to announce. I think actually our prize pool might be up on the website now for those of you who are keen to see what kind of stuff we got going on. So it's up on their website. And we're taking applications now for the first round of cosplayers in our novice, journeyman, and masters categories.
I'm trying to pull up the website now. If you give me a second here.
I can quickly say we have over $10,000 in cash prizes.
Wow, really? Holy cow. Okay.
And there we go. Best in show is $2,000. Best video game cosplay is $1,400. Best tabletop game cosplay is $1,400. Best masters is $1,500 plus a complimentary 2 all access weekend passes to GameCon for the next year, 2024. Second and third place masters is $750. I won't go through the whole list, but yeah, we've got some really cool stuff going on with them. So I'm really excited to get involved with them.
So how do you become a cosplay competition director with an organization like GameCon? Like, how does that happen?
So my background's actually in event planning, and that's kind of the grown-up thing that I used to do for a living. And my name got passed along through the community to the organizers of GameCon, and they reached out to me. So it really is thanks to the cosplay community at large for, hooking me up with the opportunity and connecting me with the right people.
Interesting. Producer Jen over here has now joined us on YouTube. She wants to hear about the drag, how you got started in drag. I want to hear that story too. So does Rob. Rob is saying I'm curious about that topic too. However, Rob is saying it's a district dedicated to alcohol will be there, as in the
distillery district. If you've never been, it's a good time, but definitely prep your liver because
yeah. So apparently we're going to be there. Before we get into the whole drag thing, guys, I want to talk about Game of Thrones. Not Game of Thrones. Well, Game of Thrones, but House of the Dragon. We haven't had a chance to talk about House of the Dragon on the show at all. We talked about it a little bit after like the first or second episode. Yeah. But now the season is over. What a season. Holy crap. Like, they shocked me. They made me angry. I had all sorts of crazy emotions in this show. What did you guys think? Like, first of all, I know, Jeff, you were a little bit of a Game of Thrones fan already. Somewhat, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, huge. Like, I've read the books. I have compendiums. I have the World of Ice and Fire. I've read the Duncan Eggs novellas. Like, I'm very, very, very big. All even Game of Thrones show. Like, I was very, very big into the world already. So, yeah, all of this is now. The only problem with it is I already know most of what's going to happen because it's based on 2 different works. So, yeah, I won't spoil what's to come. But yeah, we can obviously talk about what happened on the show. It's been a few weeks now since the finale came out. So,
yeah, I don't know any of it.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
I've never even watched the show. No.
Right? Yeah.
No. So what about you? Were you a Game of Thrones fan?
I hadn't read the books. I haven't read the books yet. And I hopped on the Game of Thrones train long after I think it had started and everyone was jonesing for the next season. So I was able to just binge watch it, which is honestly how I enjoy watching TV. I have no patience. So I want to see the next one right away. I can't watch a series that hasn't come out completely yet. I'm really spoiled with streaming services now, and I'm never going back.
It's crazy. Back in the day, we'd have to watch 26 episodes week after week, and you had to literally wait 26 weeks to see the finale.
Yeah.
Now you can watch it all in a week, all in a weekend if you want.
Yep.
And so, that's what I did with House of the Dragon. was you guys mentioned you wanted to chat about it. I was like, oh yeah, I haven't sat down and done that yet. And so I did. I sat down and I binged the whole season, and it was amazing.
Hilarious. Yeah, it was definitely an emotional roller coaster. It's funny, JS, that your reaction to everything, it is very Game of Thrones, but you've never watched Game of Thrones, but Game of Thrones is the same way. And the books are the same way too. It takes you on. Yeah. It's not a classic tale of good and evil. It's not the hero's journey like a lot of similar things are. It's everybody's shades of gray. There's no like purely good and purely bad people in it, even though they've clearly geared you towards rooting for one particular side over another. Team Black all the way, fuck Team Green. But I'm just saying, like, you don't have. Well, they've clearly set it up that way so far. Like, I'm sure they may try to guide us back.
Matt Smith is the first name in the credits.
Dude, are you? Oh, by the way, have you guys seen this? Where because Matt Smith is portraying Daemon Targaryen, that they've got now Matt Daemon Targaryen. They've superimposed Matt Damon's face over Matt Smith's.
That's hilarious.
It's my new favorite meme. I love it so much. Anyway, sorry, I don't mean to digress, but yeah. Matt Daemon Targaryen. It's great. Yeah, it's a journey like Game of Thrones was. Like, it's not like every time you expect it to zig, it'll zag on you. And once you sort of get used to the fact that nobody's safe, like there's obviously going to be some plot armor characters, but I mean any side character is up for grabs. And then I mentioned to people before too, this one is easier to follow because it's not dozens of storylines through 7 different kingdoms through 40 different families. It's really just these 2 key sides, right? And the people that choose.
I'm sure it was easier for you to follow as you were like really familiar with the character and the storyline and the plot. But I mean, like my ears started burning because it's been a few years since I watched the last episode of Game of Thrones. But like they're talking about Westeros, they're talking about the Red Keep, they're talking about, the Starks and
Lannisters.
Starks and the Lannisters.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I remember them.
I know those.
It was. I think they did such a great job of making these complex characters, and props to the actors and the cast.
The acting in this show is wow.
Patty Considine. Can we take a second and talk about Patty Considine as King Viserys? That dude's a comedic actor. That's all he's really ever done is comedies. Like he was in Hot Fuzz and like all these different little comedic roles, like supporting comedic roles. And then he comes in here and just murders everybody with this amazing dramatic portrayal. Oh my God. If he doesn't get an Emmy, we riot. There's no fucking way that guy does not get an Emmy for that role.
I was never taken out. Sometimes you see a scene or maybe an actor isn't quite as believable as you'd like them to be, or the writing just kind of takes you out of it. I was fully immersed, fully in the fantasy. Like I never had to pause and go, oh, yeah, this is a TV show. Yeah. I was completely into it. It was so great.
It's funny you say that because the other show that we're not going to name, that's exactly what's happening to me, right? I'm constantly having to pause myself and tell myself, it's not Lord of the Rings. It's not Lord of the Rings. It's not Lord of the Rings. You're not watching Lord of the Rings. Stop.
You hate it.
You're not. I hated it. I stopped watching it. I couldn't finish it. Anyway.
That's okay. We're not here to talk about that.
We're not here to talk about that. We are not.
House of the Dragon.
House of the Dragon, I will say this. I loved it. I can only imagine if you're saying that this is a much more... If it's a much easier story to follow than Game of Thrones was, I can only imagine how fucked Game of Thrones was. There were a couple scenes in this series, in this season, that I was like, that's a little much. Like, there's a couple times I told myself, oh, like, what the fuck?
Oh, my sweet summer child.
Yeah.
You've got
listen.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
I'm sure. But there was a couple times I caught myself doing that.
Well, that's HBO, right?
They've
always HBO, fair enough. Boundaries. Fair enough.
Also, in their defense, like, I watched I partially watched The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and I understand that's based off a book as well. But the scene where the assault happens in that movie, I turned it off at that point because
I can imagine.
Of course,
it was so graphic and so terrible. And I think they could have just, whoever made that choice obviously has made it for a reason, but they could have shut the door and implied what happened, and everybody would have got it. We would have known what happened. But the fact that they felt the need to push that and show it I was like, I don't know if that's necessary. And in House of the Dragon, in their defense, I don't feel it's gross. It's weird. Also, in historical accuracy, a lot of people married within the family. That's how it was done. And I think cinematically, they didn't take it past a point where it was really uncomfortable to watch for me.
Mm-hmm. I had a couple scenes like that. A couple scenes where they were uncomfortable to watch, where it's like, do we really like, can't they just cut it off now? Like, we get it, right? Like, why does this keep on going, right? Now, like Jeff says, it's HBO. HBO likes to push the boundaries, so I get it. And it doesn't negate the fact that I still think it was an amazing show. Don't get me wrong. Like, those things didn't turn me off from the show, which is maybe the problem I have with the show.
I think sometimes the shock is the message, though.
It is. You're
not
right.
made clear enough in certain situations, like even the scene you're talking about, the girl with the dragon tattoo. I think sometimes it's there to demonstrate to you how awful it can be. Like, people have experienced this in real life, and it's important that you know what happens when this happens. Like, we can shut the door and you can imagine it, but sometimes the medium is the message, and it's important that people
really want you to feel sick to your stomach.
You have to. If you don't, it's almost like a litmus test to how what of a piece of shit kind of human you are. Are you like a good person or a not so good person? But yeah, HBO has been doing this for years. But I do remember distinctly watching Game of Thrones when it was coming out with a person that had no prior knowledge of anything, hadn't read the books, and I would have to spend upwards of an hour after each episode just annotating everything that had happened, especially for the first 4 or 5 seasons that followed the books really closely.
Like, I need to decompress.
Then I'd be like, because I remember seeing a YouTube video of someone that had watched it like with their wife, and their wife had to put nicknames on all the guys so they knew who everybody was because they couldn't keep track of all the different families and all the different names. So it was like beardy bald guy and like weird.
The names are hard to follow,
kind of thing,
like
right?
especially in House of Dragon. Like, holy cow, the names are so, I don't even understand what they're saying. Like, how am I supposed to remember the name when I can't even make out the sound that they're making?
Targaryen names are tough, yeah.
Oh,
sure.
dude, it was
ridiculous. You get some that are really close to sounding to each other as well. So, or it's just like Aemond is just Damon with a D on the back kind of thing. You know what I mean? So there's like, yeah, for sure. And he's made those names specifically weird in that style because they came from a completely different land, right? That's the whole Targaryen thing, is they ain't from here. They just came here with dragons and took over, but they're not from here. So they're supposed to be exotic with the purple eyes and the long white hair and the crazy sounding names. That's all that's on purpose, right?
Now they're extinct basically, right? Other than for what's her name? Yeah, the Targaryens in Game of Thrones, they're extinct. There's only what's her face left. Daenerys?
Oh, on Game of Thrones itself. Well,
yes.
Spoiler alert.
Jon Snow's
Jon Snow is a Targaryen.
Oh, is he really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. They're related.
Yeah.
Well, go figure.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Yeah. And then the maester that was at Castle Black, Maester Aemond, he was also he was a Targaryen.
Big
as well.
spoilers for Game of Thrones.
If you haven't watched all Game of Thrones, by the way.
So when Daenerys is talking about being the granddaughter of King Aegon, she's not talking about Aegon as Rhaenyra's brother. It's a different Aegon.
No. Too far back. We're 140 years pre-Daenerys. So
right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Smokey Johnson. They should all go by their initials.
That would be even harder.
So as you're watching House of the Dragon, especially towards the end, JS, when he's talking to Alicent and he's saying that Aegon Targaryen will be the one, is the Song of Ice and Fire and the prince that was promised. Like, he's telling Alicent what the prophecy is, and she assumes that he's talking about her Aegon.
But it's not.
He's talking about Jon Snow, because Jon Snow's true name is Aegon Targaryen.
Oh, okay. I didn't even realize that.
So there are direct ties
to
to Game of Thrones. So yeah, that's why you're not really
watch Game of Thrones,
but
because
interesting.
And then rewatch House of Dragon.
Yeah, there are definitely some callbacks and some ties to it for sure. But
now, House of Dragon is its own book, right?
Yes, called Fire and Blood.
Right. Or it's 2 books.
It's going to be 2 books. He's only released one in true George R.R. Martin fashion.
Okay. So it's based on a book, Is did that book come out before the rest of the books, or did it
No.
come out after as a prequel?
After. Came out in
Okay.
2018. And the book is weird because the book is told like a historical accounting. It's not told as a dramatic story. It's told, the events are told from different points of view, Septon Eustace and Mushroom the Court Jester. And so it's a lot of like, well, some sources say this happened and some sources say that. So the show, it actually has
genius.
It's crazy town. So the show gets to actually kind of play around with the canon a little bit because the canon, even in the book, isn't reliable. It's not a reliable narrator in the book because it says it's not, because it's a historical.
It's from different people's point of view.
Right.
It allows you to kind of
so
come up with your own.
It gets you, it gives the showrunners. It's not
Mm.
like Game of Thrones where they're a little more handcuffed by the story. And as soon as they didn't have any more book story, the show went downhill in a hurry. But
Not good.
no, not good at all. But
Anywho, what did you guys think about how it ended?
The show.
Game of Thrones or the House of the Dragon?
House of the Dragon season 1, the finale. What do you think? What are your thoughts about how it all went down at the end?
I'm glad they broke out of the pattern that Game of Thrones always did, where they would have the penultimate episode be the huge one, and then the final episode would be kind of like the calmer aftermath.
Yeah, this one was
time they were
surely
like,
not.
Fuck you guys, like, boo, like it just.
I mean, dude gets chomped by a fucking
down.
dragon for crying out loud.
Yeah. No, I thought they did a really good job of getting us to a point, because this season had 2 different time jumps.
It did.
Cast changes,
3.
3. Yeah,
3 different time jumps.
Yeah. So with all the different jumps and all the different cast changes, it's nice.
Sorry, no, it had 2 time jumps, 3 different time periods.
3 different time periods.
Yes.
Yeah. But regardless, you know what I'm saying? Like it's intimidating to go into that with no prior knowledge and try to keep up with everything. But I think they did a good job of keeping everybody informed and then just kind of tying it all up enough at the end. Like when she fucking turns and dead stares the camera in the face after she just finds out her youngest
Hell hath no fury. I am so excited to see what happens.
Even if she was on the cusp of thinking of making a deal and bringing peace to the realm, not now, bitches.
She's flipping that table.
Yeah,
she is.
No, y'all.
She's going in there and burning down the city, isn't she?
So no, it's perfect. It was perfect because the casting of the show has been so brilliant right from the jump. So that was just another example of how powerful that scene was. Like she didn't say a word. All she had to do was turn and look at the camera. And I
gotta say, I liked young Daenerys better than old Daenerys as far as the actress goes.
So we're talking
young Daenerys.
Rhaenyra?
Sorry, Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
The young Rhaenyra. She had so much expression in her eyes and in her in the way that her facial expressions told everything. You know,
she's an excellent actress.
She's excellent, and she's not very old, is she? She's only like 19, I think.
And she's brand new.
Sorry, she's 22.
Too. No, and she's done almost nothing prior to that show.
And she's amazing.
Oh, she murdered it. For
she killed it to the point when they did the time jump, and I was like, really? Like, what the fuck are they doing? Not knowing anything about it, I was mad that they were replacing her, right? Because in those shows where she's in, her name is the first in the credits. It's her show at that point. It's now turning into Damon's show, right? She was the first name in the credits. Matt Smith is now the first name in the credits.
That scene that they had with her when she gave birth, and then she had to immediately take the baby to Olivia Allison. That's all one shot.
Pretty powerful.
Yeah,
that
was
all one
crazy
shot.
Scene.
There is no cut in that scene from the time that she's told that she needs to take the baby to the queen, and she walks the baby all the way up the steps, and the people greet her, and Laenor's talking to her the whole time, and they go down the hall into the room. That is all one continuous shot. Bananas. Like, are you kidding me?
Sometimes I pick up on that stuff and sometimes I don't, but I love when I can pick up on it because it makes me appreciate the scene even more, and it makes me appreciate the direction even more, and you can just you really like it, but you don't know why.
That'd be why. It's a great but to me, it really, to do that entire scene front to back, to have that level of physicality. She literally just gave birth. She's bleeding. She's got a young baby with her. You know, the husband that's not really the father. Like the whole genesis of that scene that I think her name is sorry, my apologies. They're non-binary. I think their name is Emma Darcy. I think is the actor's name that portrays the older Rhaenyra. Chef's kiss. That scene alone, I was like, I'm sold, man. Like this person has it.
Yeah, I agree. The younger actor was incredible. Such a talented person.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, that scene had so much
Oh.
going on and so much depth and so much emotion and
crazy.
Yeah, it's a great show. If you haven't watched it,
oh yeah,
right
and like
work,
JS, you don't have to be an aficionado. You don't have to be a person that's watched Game of Thrones. There'll be some subtleties that you don't get if you haven't watched Game of Thrones, but you don't have to watch Game of Thrones to appreciate it. Because JS hasn't, and he still likes it, so it's
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about it was exactly that I could jump into this show without having to have watched Game of Thrones. You know, they're not hitting you over the head constantly with references that I don't understand. Right?
Yeah, I think it's if you're not sure if you want to watch Game of Thrones, because like frankly, how many seasons? 9?
8.
8. It's a massive time commitment if you're going to watch the entirety of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And if you're not sure if that's your thing, House of the Dragon is a perfect introduction. Watch it first, see if you like it, and if you like it and you can stomach the weird family stuff, then
yeah, that I thought that was very messed up at first. Like that first time when she's still a kid and they have sex at the brothel, I was like,
that's beyond a family thing. That's an age thing for me that maybe
that was
yeah. Again, the time period that they're supposed to be portraying, like it was much.
Your life expectancy was like 40.
It's not.
You got married at 12.
We get it, but yeah, in our modern society, we're like, whoa, bro, you're her uncle and she's 14. Like, come on, this isn't cool.
Yeah.
No, agreed.
But yeah, I mean, it was a good show overall. I liked it. I'm gonna definitely be watching season 2. Is it gonna make me want to go back and watch all of Game of Thrones? Yeah. I don't have enough time to watch TV to go through a whole 8 season of a show.
You'll be pretty pissed off when it's all over, like the rest of us were. So
yeah, I don't know.
Well, you know, and that's the thing, right? And there was so much brouhaha about how it all ended in the whole last season, and that I don't know. I'll be
honest with you.
Until they run out of books.
So that's what I did. So I watched the first 5 seasons as they came out. And because I was such a giant book nerd, I stopped watching it at that point because I didn't want the show to ruin anything that was going to be coming out in the books. And for years, I avoided watching the last 3 seasons of Game of Thrones. So I'd heard all these people complaining about how bad season 8 was. And finally, I'm starting to realize that George R.R. Martin is just never going to finish the books. Unfortunately, we're 11 years since the last book and he still isn't finished with it. And that's the next book coming is not even the last book. He's got one more he wants to do after that. It's just never going to happen. So I was like, fuck it. House of the Dragon's coming. I'm going to watch the show. And I was like, how bad could season 8 really be? Holy shit. It's going to make you so mad that you're going to wonder why you invested.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Disappointed. Yeah. No, that's cool. I'm mad because you've got all this character depth and progression, and then you take all of it, you're building up for all these years, and you just go
giant shit on it. Is what you do.
Yeah, we're not gonna. It's like Luke Skywalker. Do you remember when Luke Skywalker in fucking?
I don't want to talk about
in The Last Jedi. Just grabs the lightsaber, just tosses it over his back.
Yeah,
that's exactly what season 8 does. With the character development on this.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I know.
What movie did you say?
It's the last.
Jedi. The last what? The Last Jedi?
I don't remember.
That's a movie?
Some awful dream that we had. Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. No,
exactly.
No. I don't know what you're talking about. Hey, Jane, you are into wigs. Now, I'm assuming...
It's a good transition piece, my friend.
Yeah, right.
Well done, expertly
because
done.
I want to get back to the drag queen stuff, but you are into wigs.
I need a refill on my water. You
go get a refill. Yes. You go get a refill. I'm assuming you got into wigs because of cosplay.
Yeah, absolutely. It was one of the pieces for Merida, one of my first cosplays that I really wanted to have the larger than life big mane that she's got. And so I unfortunately am not a redhead. So I started sewing wefts into a wig on my kitchen counter because had no idea what I was doing, and I thought that's how I did it. And I heat styled everything with like a bunch of curling irons I got from the thrift store, and that wig is probably 10 pounds because of all the hair I
wow.
added to it, and
Okay.
it was not necessary. I would not do it the same way, but it was a massive learning experience, and I loved it. And I got so many compliments on it. So many people were asking me about how to style wigs, and it's just not something that a lot of people want to dive into, are either excited about doing or know how to do. So that's been one of my most popular panels when I do guest at different conventions is wig styling for cosplay, doing spikes, doing larger than life stuff, teasing stuff out like that to make it super big and crazy. It's just, there's a lot of stuff you can do and a lot of money you can save if you can style your own wigs to be different characters.
And depending on the wig or the character, I mean, that's sometimes what can take your cosplay to that next level, right? Of being a costume versus being the character, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, all of a sudden with that wig, that wig, you're all of a sudden that character, right? So, so you do all your styling on your own now. How many wigs do you have? Do you even know? Is that a thing where you've got a closet full of wigs?
It depends if my husband's going to see this or not, but I would say upwards. I probably have 20 wigs.
Oh, okay.
So far.
Okay. And I mean, I'm assuming you're not using cheap wigs, right? Like when you're having to style them, they have to be a certain level of quality, I'm guessing.
Yeah, so your regular old run-of-the-mill dollar store Halloween wig is plastic. It doesn't have many wefts in it. You can't really do anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
It will sit on your head and look like plastic hair. For your children for Halloween, it's great. You can buy a $4 wig. Then we come into kind of a more costumey wig. Maybe not heat stylable, but you might be able to brush it. It's probably got a little more hair in it. But again, kind of what you see is what you get with those ones. Once you move into a heat stylable wig, so a heat safe wig, that's when you can start having a bit more fun. And those run around $40 and up.
Oh, well, that's not too bad.
Yeah, no, you can find totally affordable heat stylable wigs, and then you can start having a little bit of fun with them. You can straighten them. You can, use a blow dryer on them or a little bit of steam and some rollers. They tend to have a little bit more hair in them. So there's a couple brands that I love for cosplay and drag that have really a lot of hair in the wig. And that means I can go bigger styles like that. I can make them huge and kind of over the top. Great for styling spikes and doing more anime kind of styles with. So more dense hair and also heat stylable. The prices can really just skyrocket from there, depending on what you're looking at. If you're looking at full human hair wigs, which I would never recommend anyone do for cosplay unless you're looking to dye it or bleach it, like you want a human hair wig for some very specific reason, you can get away with synthetic wigs, and kind of you're only limited by your imagination at that point.
And sometimes you'll have a call for like a $4 Halloween wig. Like I do V for Vendetta, and that's the wig that he wears in that costume when he goes out in the Guy Fawkes mask and everything. So sometimes you can get away with it. But yeah, my Geralt wig, my Ron Burgundy wig, and the Boromir wig, those were all much more expensive wigs that I had to buy online, and then I had to pay somebody to style for me because I have no dog in that fight. I tell you that right now. So what companies do you suggest for heat stylable wigs is what Red Moon Glassworks is asking. So I'll let you handle that one.
Yeah. So Arta Wigs out of Canada is really great. Rockstar Wigs is incredible. And their Epic Cosplay Wigs is also really great. Those are 3 companies. I've worked with their wigs before. I enjoy their wigs. I think they're high quality. As far as cosplayers go, they're all you need. Those 3 companies. If you can't find something from those 3 companies,
are they local companies?
Arta is out of the States and Canada. I know they have shops in both. Epic Cosplay. Epic? I believe is out of the States, but I know they ship to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And Rockstar's out of the States as well.
I'll throw one more out there too, guys. Wig is fashion.
Yeah.
Same as Arda. So they've got an American and a Canadian site.
Yeah.
So that's where I got Boromir, and I think where I got Ron Burgundy as well. I think I got them both from Wig is Fashion. So, and believe it or not,
specific cosplay stuff, but yeah, Wig is Fashion.
Yeah, for sure.
I used that for my Mary Jane wig. I got a couple from them. They've got a really good Harley Quinn wig too.
And even guys, even on Amazon, you can get lucky. You can find something on Amazon that will my lace front platinum Geralt wig is I got from Amazon. I paid like $38 for it, and it looks. I mean, I paid somebody else twice that to style it, but once they did, it looks pimp. So you can get lucky and get some decent wigs off Amazon too. So.
Read the reviews on Amazon. That's a really good indicator.
Sure.
Really good indicator if you're getting what the picture is, because I know a lot of wig companies from Amazon use Webster out of the UK's or Rockstar even's photos and then send you something completely different. So read the reviews, but yeah, you can get some really great stuff.
Yep.
Epic Cosplay wigs are from the US. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But even right now on the Wig is Fashion website, they have Stranger Things, The Sandman, and House of the Dragon. Like they have specific cosplay wigs for House of the Dragon right now. Oh wow, those look cool. Because I want to do a Damon, and yeah, that's actually not bad. The Damon one's $90, lace front synthetic. So yeah,
for some reason I thought wigs were way more expensive than that. I mean,
well, they can be if you do get into some of the human hair ones and everything else. They can definitely get up there in their hundreds of dollar range. But
my long wigs, like the one that I'm wearing in this photo and that one there, were both around that $100 mark, and $30 more maybe if it's a really long big wig, but I've never had to pay over that for a decent cosplay wig that will last me years. If you take care of your wigs, they'll last you, so it's an investment.
We posted online this week, ask Livin the Dream Cosplay questions.
Yeah. And
somebody was asking if you sing as Ariel.
Ooh, no, I sing in the shower. For the sake of everyone. I am a lip sync queen. I am not a singing queen. I sing in my car and in the shower.
Okay, so if we're going to talk about queens, we got to talk about the drag queen stuff. How did you get into drag? Oh, did you lose us?
My one earphone just died on me. Perfect
there you
timing.
go. So I don't know if you understood my question. I was asking, how did you get into drag?
Yeah, so I it was actually a friend who I met through cosplay, who was also a drag performer in town, and I said to them, after seeing a couple of their shows, I said, hey, is this something that I could do? Because I think it would be a lot of fun. I'm really attracted to this performance aspect of it. And they said, absolutely, all drag is valid and you can do whatever you want. So come on down. And they kind of encouraged me, bullied me encouraged me into entering an amateur competition here in town. And I won. And it's been just an absolute blast ever since. I've been doing that since August.
I had no idea, like Jen was saying earlier, that female identifying people were doing or even accepted in the drag world like that. I had no clue.
Yeah.
Is it common?
I would say it's becoming more common.
Yeah.
But I, as a cisgendered woman, so I was assigned female at birth. I identify as female, and I had a little bit of trepidation coming into that scene, coming into a queer space, being a cisgendered woman doing this type of art form. And I was met with nothing but kindness and acceptance, which was amazing. I don't think it's always been like that. But really, drag is just a gender expression. So there are trans women doing drag queen acts. There are trans men doing drag king acts. There are cis women doing drag king acts. There are no rules when it comes to it. Just like cosplay, it's an art form and it's a gender expression. There are plenty of non-binary folks doing drag as well. So, yeah.
So from what I'm getting from this is you're going to be doing more and more of this.
It's been a ton of fun, and it's something that happens all year round. It's different than cosplay, but it's been a lot of fun. Jane Hustle's a whole nother character I get to dress up and go out with now.
Well, that's the thing. Is it that different than cosplay? Because you, like you say, you're dressing up as another character and you're playing that character, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how different is it to cosplay?
I think there's obviously there's a political statement with drag that isn't attached to cosplay, and there's a whole community of people that are still fighting for their rights, where really anybody can dress up in cosplay and there's not a political statement attached to that, or a cause. You know, the first drag queens were trans women, and Stonewall was a riot, and you know, the first gay pride or parade was a riot. They were fighting for their right to exist, essentially. And so I think as far as that goes, and that's where they're really different. But as far as the performance and the makeup and acting and kind of having fun with it, that is all very similar for sure. I think it's funny. I know how to do cosplay makeup, and now I'm learning that cosplay makeup's here and then drag makeup somewhere up here. You just triple everything you're doing. Bigger. Like if I think that's a big wig, I got to go bigger. Now for drag.
Yeah, it's a very, very big production, right? Everything is big and flamboyant and yeah. Jeff, are you okay there, buddy?
I am right here, my friend.
I
I apologize. Yeah, I don't have a lot of dog in this fight, so I'm listening intently, but yeah, I don't I haven't really seen anything. I don't know anything about it, so I don't want to open my mouth and say something stupid. So I just listen, man. I'm just absorbing at this point.
Yeah. So I've been to one drag show. I also know funny enough, a straight cis male that is a drag queen.
Oh, that's amazing.
Out of Montreal. He's actually huge now. I forget what his drag name is, but he just shows all over the world now.
Maddie Morphosis?
No.
Okay.
I forget what his drag name is now. Oh, you know what? It might be. I'm not even sure. Anyway. So yeah, I don't know a ton about it either. I have been to, I'd say one, but maybe a couple shows. But yeah, I don't know much about it. What can I say? I mean, you know, it's not my world, so I don't.
Yeah, fair enough. It's not for everybody, and I will say that. Like, if I think it's a ton of fun. I think there are some drag shows that are super out there, and even I'm like, oh my god, this is beyond, you know, that really weird drag and you know, horror based drag or like clown drag. Like it's so neat to see everyone's expression. Just like in cosplay, there are fandoms like Predator out to Disney princesses.
Mm-hmm.
It's a spectrum, and that's literally what drag is as well. Yeah, if you're interested in seeing a show, there are more tame shows. Like, go to a drag brunch. It's daytime drag. It's not going to be anything super weird or super sexy or anything. You know, it's a lot of fun. And at the end of the day, we're up there to have fun. And we're there to help you as an audience have fun with us performing. So if you're having a good time, we're having a good time.
Yeah, Freakish here is saying, or Noah, sorry, is saying, I also feel like cosplay and drag are similar in its popularity. I bet most people know drag performers, but don't know they actually drag just like cosplay, right? I mean, most people at work, well, they know now, but people around me, when they see me, they don't think I'm a cosplayer, right? They don't. It's not until they start seeing my office and seeing my stuff that they know, oh, wait, you're a cosplayer? Really? I'm assuming you probably get a lot of that, or at least a lot of drag queens get that, right? That people don't know, they don't associate it with that, right?
Yeah, I mean, even as a cosplayer, I was working at a law firm when I started really getting into cosplay, and it was like my dirty little secret. I didn't really tell anyone I cosplay because I wasn't sure how that would be received.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started chatting with one of the legal assistants there, and she says, "Oh my God, one of the partners is huge into this. He goes every year, like." And one of the partners of the law firm is just a big nerd and was so excited that I was getting into cosplay. And so I learned through that experience, I think, like, you never really know. And now I tell everybody I'm a cosplayer and a drag queen. I told somebody at the thrift store today, like, they're like, "Oh, you're getting all these sparkly shoes." And I said, "Yeah, I'm a drag queen." Because I think it's all about having that conversation. Somebody might be scared to go to a con or be scared to go to a drag show because they haven't really, it's new, it's untested waters, they're not sure. And I think if they get a chance to ask questions or the more open we are about our weird hobbies, the more everyone's going to join us because they're going to see how much fun it is.
Noah's a very good question here. Because although I feel like talking with people I know, drag is more respected than cosplay because it's a political statement. Do you think that's the case? Or is that, in your experience, have you seen it that way, that drag queens are more respected because of the political statement behind it?
I would say the drag has only been really tolerated or palatable by the general public since RuPaul's Drag Race has gained popularity. Mm-hmm. I think that's what really brought it to the forefront and brought it to millions of people who would have never gone to see a drag show. At a gay bar or at a pub or at a brunch, but they'll watch it on TV. So unfortunately, I think we still have a long way to go. I would love to say, like, yeah, everybody loves drag queens and we're great. And we never run into bigotry. When I take off my drag, I look like a white female. And so I recognize my privilege walking down the street from a drag show, that as soon as my drag comes off, I'm not a queer person at first sight. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
As far as cosplay, I really haven't run into anyone who's been weird about me being a cosplayer or disrespectful. I get some internet trolls a little bit sometimes that are like, "Aren't you a little old to be dressing up?" And I was like, "Aren't you a little old to be tracking my stuff online?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, as long as you're watching, you're a fan.
Yeah.
So I would say that we still have a long way to go with drag as far as acceptance and, all the yucky stuff that goes along with bigotry and ignorance. And I think the same thing goes for cosplay. I think anyone who's got a problem with people dressing up and having a lot of fun in costumes is probably just scared to try it. They're scared they might like it.
Yeah, I mean, I truly believe that if you put yourself out there, it doesn't matter in what fashion, somebody will try to break you down.
Haters. They're everywhere.
People, I mean, it's just, I think, the nature of humans, if you do something that you enjoy and you put yourself out there, there's always going to be those people that are going to leave you negative. The trolls, like Noah is saying, the trolls, yes,
I think RuPaul said something really on point for me, and it's kind of echoed in my head when I do get those comments, is unless those bitches be paying your bills, pay them bitches no mind.
Yep, exactly.
So, unless you're keeping my lights on, go troll somebody else.
Yeah. No, 100%.
I've gotten really unapologetic in my old age about not really giving a hoot when anyone thinks of me.
Jane, I want to talk about very quickly. I don't want to get canceled, guys. Okay, so please take this with a grain of salt. Okay,
I will correct you if you.
But please do. A lot of female cosplayers today tend to go down the making everything sexy cosplay, right?
Sure.
Where a lot of cosplayers, again, there's nothing wrong with that, but a lot of female cosplayers will market their cosplay towards I'm not sure what the proper word or the proper term that I'm looking for, but they're gearing a business towards selling themselves, selling pictures of themselves, selling
An OnlyFans.
an OnlyFans, selling sexy cosplays. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. You, on the other hand, have not gone down that route at all. Like, how does that? I'm trying to look at for like I'm trying to
Why?
formulate. Well, not necessarily as much why, but yeah, why? I mean, that's a good start. Why?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you 100% get those comments all the time. I guarantee you get those comments all the time. Where's your OnlyFans? Right? I guarantee you get asked that question at least once a week.
I think I get it a lot less because it's not something I'm offering.
Mm-hmm.
I do things like stupid sexy Flanders, and I kind of trolled everyone last year and was like, ooh, something sexy's coming for Christmas. And then put out Santa in a bodysuit in full beard. I guess the why is it's not something I felt I wanted to do. And no shame. Those girls are beautiful and they are making bank. And if they're doing it and empowered, happy, and they're happy doing it, like, get paid, girl. I'm happy for you. It was just, I think I made a very conscious decision. That's just not something I wanted to do. I also have a stepson who's 13, and I don't want him coming across those photos of me on the internet. Some things you just kind of got to see in person. So it's, no shame in the game for the people who do those sites and are having a good time and who enjoy expressing themselves and their sexuality through cosplay. I'm here for it. I love it.
100%. I mean, I'm not trying to pitch her for Patreon here, but our great friend of the friend of the podcast, Cutie over here. I mean, she's made a business out of it. And 100%, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's really the only way to fully monetize the hobby, right? At the end of the day, there's not a lot of other ways. I've gotten paid gigs. You've gotten paid. I'm sure a lot of us have gotten paid gigs. But if you want to be able to live off doing this, it's really the only avenue that you can go down, that you could make a consistent living just with having pictures of yourself in costumes on the internet. Like, there's really no other way to monetize the hobby, which I know has led to some, I don't want to say bitterness, but it does make that road a little bit more, and I don't even want to say easy too, because I know it's not an easy road to hoe.
I think it's attractive to a lot of people because this isn't a cheap hobby.
Right.
Let's be honest, it's not a cheap hobby. Right. And I think a lot of people see that as a way to supplement their hobby. And if that's how you want to supplement your income to make this hobby even more part of your life, great.
My suggestion, or I guess more my advice,
a handful of people who are professional cosplayers in the whole world. Yeah, there's a handful of people we could probably all name.
That's what I'm saying. There's not really an avenue for you to do this full time and make a living out of it. I guess I get concerned because I do see it quite often where the audience will get built up based on the back of that, on doing very provocative, doing very sexualized, highly sexualized things. And then once a follower count gets to be a certain amount, you've got 20,000 or 25,000 followers, and you've built that on a base of that style of content, then if they want to make a shift in content, or they want to I don't want to be taken more seriously, because I'm not saying they're not being taken seriously when they're doing the provocative stuff, but maybe they want to have a shift, and then they start to get upset by the types of comments or the types of things that they're getting or being exposed to. It can be frustrating because that's the base that you built. Like, that's the only reason you have 25,000 followers is because you were so provocative early on.
Right.
Now you want to shift. The base that you built isn't going to shift with you all the time. So I almost feel like it can be hard to shift gears either way, by the way. Even if you start off not doing it sexualized and then you move into that avenue or that venue, your original followers can also be like, well, wait a minute, hold on. We thought you were this and now you're doing that. Like, it's hard not to alienate people if you want to then be empowered and do your own thing in whichever mode you decide to go with. You know what I mean?
Cutie's been really Cutie has been a really amazing advocate for this type of topic, and she is brutally honest and has never been anything but when I've asked her questions about it, like, how does that work? Like what? Because it's not a realm I know. And she said, you know, unless you're cool with being on the internet and having that be forever, if you are not super self-confident and happy in your body, if you can't stand naked in front of a mirror for 20 minutes and just stare at yourself, this isn't the profession for you. You know, she's got a really great checklist. I'm sorry, Cutie, I'm not doing you justice right now, of like things you should think about before getting into this type of content creation.
Yeah. Because if you build it, they will come. Like, you're going to get neckbeards, you're going to get basement dwellers, you're going to get mouth breathers, you're going to get guys that are there specifically to look at your provocative photos. That's
you're
why
gonna
they're
get guys
there.
who drop their kids off to soccer. You're gonna get dads and lawyers and literally everyone under the planet.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah. And that's
So
tough because you won't, if you don't go down that avenue, you're not going to be exposed. That's ultimately my point, right? Like,
so here's the other thing is, like, get creative. Like a friend of mine and I are making there are other ways to monetize your cosplay. So we're making custom air herc sandals.
Oh.
So this is something that she made for a cosplay she did, and we posted the reel of these on Instagram, and it went viral. And people were like, "Where do we get these sandals?" We're like, "We're gonna make some." So we're literally making a run of these sandals. You know, like, get creative with it. Doing an OnlyFans account is not the only way to monetize your cosplay or your hobby. If you have a 3D printer and you've come up with some really cool 3D print, throw it on an Etsy store, put it on your coffee page. You know, do one of a kind videos for people, do shout out, do happy birthdays. One of my best friends is a Marilyn Monroe impersonator, and she does cameos.
She's actually in the chat right now.
As Marilyn Monroe singing happy birthday. Like, an OnlyFans account is not the only way to monetize your hobby.
No, agreed. And I have been paid for gigs before, but as far as like living off it though, it really is the only, right now, I feel like it's the only thing you can do. You can get a bunch of side hustles out of it. I agree with you all the live long day.
So now I'll agree with you, Jeff. There are people that have become YouTube stars from doing this. Makers that have, you know, moved on to working professionally for the movie industry. You know, you've got people like Evil Ted, right, who started as making templates, and you know, he's huge now. Bill Duran, Punish Prop, Mall Cosplay. You know, these are people that are now making a living not just off of the cosplay, but off of everything around the cosplay, from the YouTube to selling patterns to doing different things like that, right?
That being said, it is a full-time job to get yourself to that level that will take years. I'm not saying it's impossible, and you can't become one of those 5 or 10 or 20 top creators who make a living off of this. So if you are passionate about it, you're ready to work your ass off for it, absolutely. I'm not discouraging anyone from trying to do it. I'm just saying, like, when I first started cosplaying, of course I said I want to be a professional cosplayer. This is awesome. Like, this is a super fun hobby, and I would love to do it for a living. Then reality set in, and bills set in, and I'm not independently wealthy to just do cosplay and create content and do this full time while I'm waiting on the paychecks to start rolling in.
That's ultimately the point I'm trying to make. Like, you guys are listing some good examples. That great. You guys are talking about the 1% of the 1% of
100%.
Like,
yeah.
The
These are exceptions.
Vast majority of us. That's not that's not
no.
No matter how much. And I get, there's a couple of like cosplayers that I know that have been doing it for years. That's what they talk about all the time, all the dedication, all the blood, sweat, and tears, everything they poured into it, and they have 300 not that followers are a big deal, but they get 300 followers. They have no monetization on any level. They're not getting noticed. They're not getting invited to be guests. They're not getting judged. They're not getting any of it because sometimes the avenue is just not there. So
you know what? And guesting is great. it is not a huge source of income unless
It's
you
no
are
source of income.
unless you're one of those top, 500,000 follower type people,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
you're being asked to judge and being paid to judge at a competition.
Right.
Yeah.
If you think getting a booth at a Comic-Con and selling your prints is going to pay for your booth,
Yeah. No, I've made it. No, you haven't.
maybe you're not. Maybe you're selling different prints than I am, but it was not oh, I could do this twice a year and make all of my money back.
No, it's still a
think
feather in your cap. And as a
really need,
cosplayer, it's nice to get invited out to a
absolutely.
thing and be a guest. I've
It's
guested at
super fun.
probably over 100 fucking events by now. So yeah, it's super great. It's a
I'm
feather
just
in your
saying,
cap.
don't look at that as like
No.
a source of income as well.
No.
You need to do this hobby for the love of this hobby.
Mm-hmm.
So
And you don't need to be independently wealthy to be a cosplayer. I've seen people closet cosplay. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be nice?
It's not a real problem if you can throw money at it and it solves it.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, you mean the Jeff solution? The Jeff solution.
Yeah, I have nothing but respect for
Just
people
buy
that
it.
make stuff. It's
Just
great.
buy it, right?
3D prints, foam work, sewing, patterning, all that's great. I have more money than time now because I'm old. So I'm willing to give somebody else the money to make it for me. And when they need the money more than I need it, because I can go out and make more money, but once the time is gone, it's just gone. And I don't have, there's way fewer years in front of me than there are behind me now. So yeah, it's not, cosplay on a budget is my jam. Absolutely.
I've got two new t-shirts coming.
Sometimes, yeah, you can do that, right?
I got 2 new t-shirts coming. Hashtag Justice for Biff.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
And hashtag just do it with a big mustache. Or just buy it, sorry, with the big mustache. Yes. Producer Jen here is in the IG chat saying, I'm going to start making JS drop his pants, but keep the Predator helmet on and take pics. And nobody wants to see this gut, without the costume.
What do you mean nobody wants to see it? You don't know my life.
Cutie saying cosplay on a budget's my jam. Absolutely. You can.
She is the king.
Or
the queen of cosplay on the budget.
She's so creative.
It's
insane what that woman comes up with.
Some of the stuff that she does when she does like her month of Halloween or her 30 days of Christmas or whatever.
The sexy cousin it. Oh my god, I couldn't. It
was
so good. So good.
Hashtag Predator feet pics.
No, thank you. Hey, and by the way, I'm not kink shaming anybody. It's just not my thing. All right, just
Yeah.
Can we
say the SW word? Can we say sex work on YouTube or Instagram?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
We're not.
Okay,
we're already not monetized. You can't make it any worse. It's fine.
Yeah.
that's what OnlyFans accounts are. They're sex workers.
Yeah, of course.
That's
ultimately the point I was trying to make. Just didn't use the word, but yes, of course.
Yeah, make your money.
To me, you're becoming not something else, but you're definitely adding to. You're not just a cosplayer anymore. You're now a cosplayer.
Selling
exactly.
Plus 18 content. Period. You're selling plus 18 content, whether that's pictures of your feet or implied nudes or full nudes or videos or whatever. It's all under that umbrella.
There's no shame.
No,
absolutely no shame.
Not.
But you are something more now. I don't know that you get to just say, well, not just say whatever you want, but you are a cosplayer and you're now a sex worker. So that's unfortunately you're going to get a certain crowd that's going to get drawn to your stuff. That's not going to be a very great crowd to have.
There's two sides to that coin for me, Jeff. Like there's people that there are sex workers that use cosplay as a gimmick. Mm-hmm. Then there are sex workers that are cosplayers. I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. Unfortunately, the people that are going to be consuming the content don't care.
No, they don't. You're right. 100%.
That person's motivations, I think, are good. It's good to know where they're coming from and why they're doing what they're doing, because we all have our own motivations and we should be free to explore them in any way we choose, as long as we're not hurting anybody else. But unfortunately, the crowd that you're going to grab it's still just guys that want to see your feet or, want to see your.
No, you're right. You're right. It doesn't matter at all. You're right.
You're going to get this. That's the shittiest part. At the end of the day, you're going to get the dregs of the internet. Unfortunately, that's the crappiest part of it, right?
So that's a good point, and that comes back to a comment that Noah was saying earlier. Do you think there needs to be a better convo around making new lewd cosplayers aware of some of the negatives of those types of cosplays? Initially, I want to say no because it's not my business, right? People will do what they want to do.
We shouldn't. Someone like Cutie, I think, can do that. I think someone that's in the game, that's been there and that's seen it, I think she can then absolutely have a talk, or maybe even.
Well, can she? Like, is it her business either?
How many opinions did you ask for when you were 18?
You're right. Nothing's
How many
really
outside
changed.
opinions were you
No.
looking to
I was
have
an asshole when I was 18. No, 100%.
That's what I'm saying. I think people need to be
do a
open
talk?
to.
She could do a talk. She could do a panel. I don't know that she shouldn't be like DMing girls and go, "Hey, girl."
Seminar
blah, blah,
on the
that's
topic.
what I'm saying.
She is such a wealth of information, and I think if this is something you're interested in getting into, or something you've been kicking around in your brain, or you're getting into cosplay and you're seeing all these other people, like men and women. There are men who do OnlyFans cosplay stuff, and non-binary and the whole umbrella of humans. But reach out to somebody. Reach out to a creative who's already doing it. Ask tips. Ask tricks. I feel like the sex worker industry and the cosplay community really aren't that different. We're all here for a good time. We're all here to enjoy this fandom and do our thing. And especially, Cutie's saying yes, always feel free to reach out. So she's a perfect resource for anyone. If you're kicking around this idea, you have questions, as long as you're respectful, slide into her DMs and she'll get back to you eventually.
Oh, she will for sure. I feel though like the major difference between cosplay and selling lewds on an OnlyFans, they attract a slightly different crowd.
Yeah, of course.
And there are risks, like real risks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Cutie doesn't go by her real name. You know, well, to be fair, neither do you, but. There are a lot of risks.
Which is a choice again.
It is a choice, but I feel like if you are thinking of getting into this line of work, that you should at the very least talk to other people that are in this line of work
100%.
to understand what you're getting yourself into before you do. That's 100%. The advice I would give anybody.
Not even to understand what you're getting yourself into, but to start off right, to do it right. To protect yourself, if nothing else, to be safe about it, because it is a risky thing to get into at some point. So it just like creating an online persona, I created a cosplay only account that was completely separate from my personal life. I don't post family photos. I don't post, details about my personal life on my cosplay account. I share a curated version of Livin the Dream Cosplay on my cosplay account. And I think making that division between personal and your hobby, especially if you're going, I had that reel go viral and I had 3,000 or 4,000 new followers that I did not know. Before that, I would say I knew, or at least had creeped and internet knew most of the people that were following me. And then literally over the course of a week, I had so many new faces, I couldn't even keep up with it. So at some point you're going to hit those tipping scales and you're not going to know who's following you. And so you need to just be aware of whatever content you post is completely public and can be seen by any one of these, however many people you have following you.
Yeah. And then we've got Cutie saying, and then I'm over here as the Swedish chef in noodles. I gotta say, she wore her Swedish chef at Fan Expo, and it's fucking excellent.
Oh my god,
it's so genius. Producer says that stash though, 100%. Yeah, she also says 100% safety is so important. I mean, it really is. That's my main concern when we get into this type of stuff is do whatever you want, but
stay safe.
Stay safe.
I also think that we're the generation that didn't grow up with the internet. We're the last generation that didn't grow up with the internet.
Yeah.
Right. So I think these kids that we're worried about, honestly, are probably way more freaking savvy than we are anyways. They would never have audio problems. And, they understand the internet more than we do. They grew up with it. They have been told in school and taught about the dangers. So I would say, these Twitch streamers and people making OnlyFans accounts and making that type of content, even people making that type of lewd content for Instagram, I would hesitate to guess that a lot of people are probably pretty savvy at what they're getting into. Oh, Bless you.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Sorry.
Holy cow.
I didn't get to the mute button. in
Don't
time. I
lose that
apologize.
denture there, bud.
Yeah, Katie
yeah.
said she blocks people who use her name just to keep everything under wraps.
Yeah, and I mean, I understand it, right? Like, it's...
Yeah, I used it once in the podcast and we had to bleep it out because I'm an idiot.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, it can be scary, especially these days, right? There's so many loons out there that, yeah.
Yeah, you got to be safe. Creepy
For
people
sure.
are
Sorry,
gonna be
I know
creepy.
we kind of went down a path here. That's
We did, and we've
Down a
been
rabbit
on
hole.
now for an hour and a half, so we do have to wrap it up quick. Before we go, first of all, Jane, thank you so much for being on. You're gonna have to come back again.
I would love that. Yeah,
you know,
thanks
when we
so much
do
for
like a
having me.
more of a regular show and not necessarily a cosplay specific show, or maybe we do another cosplay show and we have you on. Either way, you got to come back. Any final words that you want to let us off with? Anything you want to pitch? Maybe reiterate the different events you're going to be at.
Yeah, so I'm obviously GameCon is coming up. We've got some really exciting announcements coming in the next couple of months. So if you have not checked out GameConCanada.com, please do so. It is going to be one of the largest gaming convention in Western Canada. And really excited to be part of that. So that's kind of my next big thing I'm looking forward to in June. Check that out. If
The date, you said, is June
23rd through 25th.
23rd to 25th.
I want to make sure that dates are correct. I'm pretty sure. Yes, 23rd through 25th in Calgary, Alberta. Tickets will be going on sale very soon, so keep an eye out for those. If you haven't given me a follow and a like, go ahead and do that. And yeah, more stupid, sexy cosplay coming in the new year.
Rob, I'm going to explore this Predator's feet idea. Ugh. I am going to kink shame you, sir.
Cosplay Alliance meetup. Cosplay Alliance meetup. November 19th.
I don't think about it.
Yes, so November 19th. So about 10 days away or 9 days away. Distillery District in Toronto. So all the Toronto folks, make sure that you get out there. We're surely going to try to make it, and
yeah, shoot Cosplay Alliance or myself DM, and we'll add you into the group chat so you can keep up to date on where we're going to meet, what time, the photographers that we have coming. You're going to meet a couple of really amazing cosplayers that I actually met at Toronto Expo. Some of my friends from Expo are coming, so I'm really excited for that group shoot. It's going to be a ton of fun.
Can you talk a little bit about who's going to be there?
So Cosplay Alliance has a few people coming. Crystal is coming. Pretty Nerdy Crystal is coming. She's a Toronto cosplayer. Oh my gosh. Faces of Boaz. Not sure what her Instagram handle is. Your gay auntie loves her on TikTok. And oh my gosh, who else do we have coming? Sorry, I'm blanking on everyone's names now. But we're all
I'm putting you on the spot now.
DM me, I'll add you. You can creep everybody there.
Jeff, apparently you've got a bunch of stuff coming up again.
Yeah, always. November 18th, I'll be in Chatham, Ontario for the Santa Claus Parade.
Yeah.
We're going to be going through that. Yeah. So I think I'm literally just going to put Batman on without the cowl and just throw like a Santa hat on and throw some tinsel around it or something. So that'll be fun. December 3rd here in London, Ontario, the Geeky Holiday Gift Market is going on once again, put on by London Comic Con this year. That's at Centennial Hall. Gonna have some cosplayers up for that event. We're going to be setting up some photo booths, some photo areas, take pictures and stuff. So again, same thing. I'm just going to Christmasify one of the cosplays and stuff. So I'm going to be up for that event. So those are the next two big things for sure. November 18th in Chatham for the Santa Claus Parade. December 3rd, if you're in London, Centennial Hall, where we had it last year. Come on out for the Geeky Holiday Market. Get some of your last minute gift ideas. There's a lot of like cool local vendors with handmade stuff there. So you can shop small business, you can shop local and support all that scene and get some really, really cool gifts for those geeky loved ones in your life. So December 3rd, come on out for that.
Amazing.
Yep, and
I thought
then
you
yeah,
said
you
you
know
were
me,
busy
Messiah
on
Complex Cosplay
November,
across all social
19th.
media. You slap me. You don't have to follow me, but check out my stuff, and maybe yeah, if you want to do a collab, throw me a DM, and I'm happy to probably tell you it's too far for me to drive, and I'm not doing it. But you never know.
I was just gonna say, I thought you were busy on November 19th, but I guess it's just too far to come down
That
to the
well,
big
and that
city
week
for
I
ya.
do have other stuff on that weekend, but the 18th is the big
Sure
thing for
you
that,
do.
and then the 19th,
Sure you
yeah,
do.
and then yes,
You mean you
Jeff,
got
Mike,
another thing
see you
going
tomorrow.
on
Send
that
help,
weekend?
shields,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
it's
he's
going to
got a
be
lot of other
lots
things
of
going on
that this
weekend.
weekend with Michael Icon and Crazy Mike Cosplay, who are both in the channel today. We're going to be abusing our livers starting tomorrow. I think Mike gets into town at 8.
Mm-hmm.
And then Saturday, it's just going to be, we're probably going to start drinking at noon, and it's going to be debauchery all day long. Which, by the way, sir, we got to get you down here for our little mini brewery tour and join us for a day of debauchery.
Yes,
So
definitely.
Yep.
Chibi Barrett Cosplay is asking, what's this event? While we were talking earlier, there's a Cosplay Alliance meetup in the Distillery District, November 19th. Is there a time yet?
There is. I want to say 1:30 or 2:30.
1:30 or 2:30? Okay, well, sometime in the afternoon.
Send me a DM. Send me
Yeah.
a DM. I'll add you into the group chat. We would love to have you.
Yeah, there's going to be a bunch of people there. Are you coming into Toronto just for this event?
Yeah, I was coming into Toronto to visit a friend and wanted to just kind of touch base and hang out with a bunch of people I met at Expo that I was too exhausted to hang out with. So yeah, there was a seat sale and I hopped on it and decided I was coming to Toronto and reached out to Cosplay Alliance, and we decided that we should host a meetup together. So
Perfect. So Movember meetup hosted by Cosplay Alliance. It should be a good time. Guys, thanks so much again. Everybody watching, I mean,
thanks for joining us, guys.
Yeah, we love having you guys on board, even though we probably didn't get through to a lot of your comments this week. Sometimes hard when we have somebody new on to get through all the comments, but hey, thanks for joining us. Thanks for sticking with us, because we've still got some people that are listening in here. I think that's going to be it, though. Jane, Jeff, thanks again, guys. Make sure you're staying geeky. We'll see you next week.
See with you guys on Instagram.